In the far south of Egypt, carved into the bedrock of time itself, lies a wound in the earth. This is the Aswan quarry. It feels less like a ruin and more like an abandoned factory, a place where giants worked until a whistle blew and they simply vanished. Scattered across this sprawling granite landscape are tools left mid-task and massive stones half freed from their ancient slumber. But one detail dominates all others. Covering nearly every surface are thousands upon thousands of curious depressions, the mysterious Egyptian scoop marks. Perfect curved impressions etched into some of the hardest stone on Earth. For over a century, these precise grooves have stumped researchers. Each mark seems aligned with a consistency that defies the simple hand tools we're told were used to build an empire. For generations, the official explanation has remained unchanged. Archaeologists point to these dolerite pounding stones. Found throughout the quarry, this igneous rock is harder than granite, making it theoretically capable of grinding away the softer stone through repeated punishing impacts. The theory is simple, logical, and taught in every textbook. But theory doesn't explain what we actually see in Aswan. And when modern technology was finally used to analyze these ancient patterns, the results didn't just challenge the story, they threatened to overturn it completely. The scoop marks told a story no one predicted, and what they revealed about how they were made forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about the capabilities of the ancient world. The scoop marks appear everywhere, on the famous unfinished obelisk, along vast quarry walls, and deep inside narrow shafts that plunge into solid rock. Each mark measures roughly the same size and depth. They line up in impossibly consistent rows, sometimes extending for dozens of feet in perfectly straight lines. Manual pounding, as demonstrated in countless experiments, produces random, overlapping craters. It's a brutal, imprecise process. These marks, however, are surgical, identical, aligned with an unnerving precision. And the mystery deepens when you look where they are found. They curve underneath massive blocks, still locked in the bedrock, as if the tool that made them could move effortlessly through solid granite. And then there are the test pits. These narrow shafts, some descending over 40 feet straight down and barely 3 feet across, present a logistical nightmare. Mainstream theory suggests a worker would descend into this claustrophobic darkness to pound the walls month after month with a heavy dolerite stone. The physics are borderline absurd. There is no room to generate force. The air would fill with suffocating granite dust within minutes. Without modern ventilation or lighting, how did they work? How did they breathe? And how did they haul out tons of debris, one basket at a time, from a 40-foot hole they were simultaneously working inside?
Yet their walls are lined with the same flawless scoop marks from top to bottom. No fatigue marks, no misaligned blows, no signs of human error or exhaustion. Each stroke is as precise at 40 feet down as it is at the surface. It makes no practical sense. The official story is fraying at the edges. For decades, the contradiction sat unsolved, just another archaeological curiosity. Until now, because when a new kind of eye looked at these ancient grooves, it didn't see stone, it saw data. Researchers compiled thousands of high-resolution 3D scans of the Aswan scoop marks and fed them into advanced computational systems. Using pattern recognition algorithms, the analysis bypassed human bias and archaeological dogma. The system simply searched for consistency, curvature, depth, spacing, and microscopic tool signatures. When the results came back, they were unequivocal. The analysis identified consistent tool paths that manual pounding cannot replicate. Each scoop showed an identical entry angle, a smooth, curved trajectory, and a perfect exit angle, repeated thousands of times with mathematical precision. But then came the detail that no human eye had ever detected. Under digital magnification, the system detected subtle spiral patterns within each depression, microscopic striations spiraling inward from the mark's outer edge toward its deepest point. This signature is the fingerprint of rotational tool movement, not percussive impact. It was as if a large, cylindrical tool had drilled through the granite in sweeping arcs, carving it the way a modern milling machine would. This wasn't percussion. It was machining. The system went further, analyzing the spacing between each mark. Over stretches of more than 100 feet, the distance varied by less than 5%, an error margin smaller than what modern human hands can maintain without mechanical assistance. The implication was unavoidable. The tool's motion was constrained, guided. Either the ancient workers used a form of rail or track system, or the cutting implement itself was mounted on a frame capable of sliding in precise increments. For researchers used to thinking in terms of hand tools, that conclusion landed like a thunderclap. But the data held one more secret. Chemical composition analysis of the marks revealed another anomaly. Spectrographic analysis identified trace mineral inclusions embedded in the granite's pores, compounds consistent with ultra-hard abrasive materials, far harder than quartz, that are not native to the quarry. They were introduced by the cutting process itself. When cross-referenced with the database of modern manufacturing signatures, the Aswan marks showed a startling resemblance to two methods: ultrasonic cutting, which uses high-frequency vibrations to shatter molecular bonds, and abrasive jet cutting. This doesn't mean the Egyptians had electric power tools, but it raises a profound question. What ancient process could mimic the signatures of our most advanced technology? This discovery was already rewriting the how, but a different site in the quarry was about to rewrite the when. At the southern end of the quarry lies a strange, massive hollow. For years, archaeologists believed it was an ancient harbor, a docking bay for loading granite onto ships. But there's a problem. The depression doesn't connect to any waterway. It sits well above the historical high water mark of the Nile. It was not a harbor. The scoop marks lining its walls show it was a site of extraction, the cradle of a single colossal block of stone. On these walls, archaeologists found ancient paintings, red ochre artwork depicting birds rendered in a distinctive style. This style is an exact match for designs found on pre-dynastic pottery, from an era that predates the first pharaohs and the pyramids by centuries, perhaps even millennia. The logic is inescapable. The art was painted on the quarried surface. Therefore, the quarrying happened before the art was created.
This means the scoop mark technique, the same advanced rotational, mechanically guided process, was being used in a supposedly primitive pre-technological era. And the scale is staggering. Based on the depression's dimensions, engineers estimate the single block removed from this spot would have weighed between 3,000 and 5,000 tons. For comparison, the heaviest stones at Giza are 80 tons. The largest obelisks ever moved were 500 tons. Nothing in any dynastic text, no inscription or myth, describes moving anything close to this size. The block and the civilization capable of moving it simply vanished from history. This discovery inverts the entire timeline of human progress. We assume technology moves forward, from crude to sophisticated. But the stones of Aswan tell a different story. The oldest work is the most advanced. The oldest marks, the pre-dynastic ones, carry the clearest machining signatures. As we move forward through Egyptian history, the techniques become simpler, the ambition smaller, the result rougher. Later dynasties used wedges, then less effective metal chisels, to extract far smaller blocks. It's not a story of progress, it's a story of decline, a slow forgetting. It's as if dynastic Egypt didn't invent this technology, but inherited the fading remnants of it, the echo of a forgotten golden age.
A civilization that began at its peak and slowly lost the knowledge of how it got there. If this technology once existed, could it be the missing key that unlocks the secrets of Egypt's other impossible achievements? Perhaps these aren't isolated miracles, but fragments of a single, lost system of knowledge, a technology so refined that later civilizations could only look upon its ruins with awe and imitation. The evidence is there, carved in granite for anyone willing to see. Long before the first pyramid rose from the sand, someone at Aswan possessed the power to shape the hardest stone on earth like clay. 2,000 years of archaeology saw only primitive labor. A computer, free of preconception, saw industrial precision. The analysis may have solved the how, and the quarry itself hints at a when far older than we ever imagined. But the who remains the greatest mystery of all. What do you think created these marks? Are we looking at the fingerprints of a lost civilization, or is there another explanation? Share your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching.